Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I felt like coming on here and just sharing a little message, see what wants to come through today. I'm sitting here with my cat Mango, who's taking a little nap. And yeah, we're just gonna see. I feel like there's a lot of shifts happening. I know for me personally, like I just got my hair done yesterday, which is why it looks so nice, so don't get used to this. And I just put on a new pair of jeans that I bought yesterday, not yesterday, 2 days ago, that are like a leopard print, that I just was like, oh, I have to get these. It was kind of like a treat myself moment. And I was just putting them on and I took off the tag and it had this beautiful message on it that I just thought was, I hope you can hear me, by the way. I don't know if I should move closer to my phone, but this brand is called Koala, and it says, we go beyond labels to create unique pieces for those who choose identity over conformity, action over procrastination, expression over silence. Seek the uncomfortable and accomplish that which seems impossible. So I feel like we're on the brink of some big change, like something that maybe we've always kind of wanted or felt was out there in some distant future for us feels like it's becoming closer, it's becoming possible. That which seemed far off or distant, or like a dream, is becoming real, it's becoming tangible, we're going to start to see signs of it in our physical reality. And I feel like it's starting with the self. Like maybe you're making little changes, little things to just reflect the inner shift that's been happening within you, because it always happens inside first, right? But then it's kind of like we're wanting to bring that outward. We're wanting to see tangible results of that. And it can be frustrating when we don't see those yet, because we're like, is it working? Is anything happening? Is anything changing? I've been doing all this work. I've been doing all of this, healing, and I've been taking action toward my goals. I've gotten clear about what my intentions are. And so now it's kind of like this waiting period. But it feels like the waiting period is actually very ripe and full of a lot of possibilities, and allowing space for play, allowing space for, I don't know, maybe things that you wouldn't normally do. Like if you were sitting in a waiting room, for example, waiting for an appointment to start, you kind of have this lapse of time where like you can't really do maybe what you would normally do, because you have to be there in that waiting room and the other thing hasn't started yet. They haven't called your name yet, okay? So in the meantime, you might look at a magazine that's on the table that you normally wouldn't have read because you wouldn't have had that time or that opportunity. So, and then in that magazine, it might have this idea or just this imagery or something that speaks to you, or something that, like, I don't know, expands your mind in some way, or makes you smile, I don't know, or makes you feel seen, or just, yeah, kind of sparks your, I don't know, your creativity in some way. But you wouldn't normally have, you might have missed that, right, if you didn't have that waiting moment. Or even just the space to sit and think and pause and breathe, of like, I don't need to be doing anything right now. I don't need to be pushing forward constantly. Like there's a lot of wisdom and magic in the pause, in the waiting, in the before period, in that transition phase, in that transition period. There's actually a lot happening beneath the surface. And I know it can be like frustrating sometimes when it feels like things are taking a long time, or like you're not seeing progress, or you don't feel like you see progress. But like there's little shifts that are actually like big signs of change. And I think even that frustration feeling is that expansion, is that growth happening, right? Because it happens in uncomfortability, right? Seek the uncomfortable. So growth is not meant to be comfortable, right? Like it's like a butterfly, right? If you think of a butterfly, typical symbol of change, the caterpillar doesn't know what the hell's going on, and like it has to become something completely different. Or a snake, right? You're shedding the skin. It's not a comfortable feeling, but it's you shed the skin because you've outgrown it. So it's like this falling apart. It might feel like falling apart. It might feel like destruction. It might feel like an ending, I guess. It comes with pain, is what I'm trying to say, is that the uncomfortability, the pain is actually a sign that the growth is happening. So don't be discouraged, and allow yourself time to rest, to recover, and to then reconnect with joy and playfulness and things before rushing into that next thing, or before, like, I don't know, it's kind of just allowing things to be as they are, to unfold, to surprise you, to kind of tap into the mystery of things, of like, I don't know what's going to happen next, but that is exciting because it's full of possibility. And also it allows me to choose what I want rather than being like kind of just thrown around by life. It's like I'm choosing, like I've created all of this space by letting go of all these things. I've created this space where now I can choose where I want to go next. And the choice becomes easier or clearer when you take the time to shed what no longer feels resonant or fulfilling for you. And you're then able to kind of go back to the drawing board and say, what is my intention for my life? Or what do I want to feel? What do I want to bring in? What do I want to create? Like, what is it that I want? And then you're able to make those choices more easily because you know to come back to your initial intention, and you can say, is this aligned with my desire? You know, is this the same direction? Is this the direction I want to go in? Like, does this match? Does this make sense for me? And then you become the guide, you become the compass, you become, you know, you get to draw the map of like what you want, rather than just being given something, being told this is how life should be, this is how things should look. Like, if someone is giving you a map, I personally would have just, in this energy, feels like tearing it up and like, I'm not gonna, because it's like almost like if someone else is giving you their map, you might end up super lost or confused or frustrated because you're now on this path that was not designed for you, that makes no sense to you. Like, maybe this map makes sense to someone else, but it's not yours. So I encourage you to draw your own map. And this map doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be the map that you use for the rest of your life. This could be the map just for this week. Like, this is what I want to do this week, and this is the map. But also don't be then clinging to that map, because if you then get to this spot and you don't want to go that way, that's okay. You can go a different way. Like, I think it should be, I was thinking about this last week of like masculine and feminine energy and how they work together, and like the fluidity of it, like creating a fluid structure where the two combine, where it's like we need some sort of structure, some sort of guidance, some sort of direction, but we don't want it to be too rigid where we're then like limiting ourselves or closing ourselves off to our intuition or like serendipity or inspiration. Like, we want to be open, but not so open that we're lost, that we're like kind of being pulled in a million directions at once and therefore not moving. So it's like the middle ground, right, of the constriction and restriction, or expansion and constriction. And it's kind of like sometimes we have to learn the extreme of each end And sometimes it does require us, like sometimes it is good to be completely open and be lost and be open to everything. And sometimes it's good to be focused and honed in on one thing. So it really depends. And sometimes we have to be so constricted to realize like this is not working. And then we go the opposite, maybe to be completely open and see all the possibilities. And then it's like once we can ground and figure out how can I create a structure that works for me? Because once again, we don't want to be using someone else's system that was not designed for us. We want to design our own system. And we can certainly take from other people's systems, but we want to try it on for size kind of and see how it fits, like getting a new pair of jeans. Like, how does that pair of jeans fit for us? Do we feel comfortable in it? Maybe it looks good on the rack, but then when we put it on, like, it's not comfortable, or it doesn't fit us right, or we buy it because we like the idea of it, but then it just stays in our closet because it's not actually something, it doesn't feel like us, or it doesn't, like, it's not something that we're reaching for. So it's like if we're trying to, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy all this stuff to do this thing, and then it's like that's not actually how we work. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, if you feel like the steps aren't working because you're trying to follow someone else's steps or someone else's guidebook, like, maybe it's not that you don't know what you're doing or that you're on the wrong path. It's just like maybe you're following the wrong steps, or like the wrong guidebook, or like that person's or that system like doesn't necessarily work best for your own energy. So it's kind of like, it's kind of trial and error. Like it's always information, right? Like if you try something and it doesn't work, then you kind of learn, okay, well, let me try it this way, right? And it's like kind of seeing what is going to fit for you. Like for a long time, I thought I hated structure. I hated having any sort of like limits on me or any rules. And I've realized now I actually do like it, but I like it when I'm the one creating it, but also when there's a balance. There has to be a balance, because I'm someone who loves to just flow and follow my intuition and you know, but then it's like if I don't have any sort of like, I don't know, direction or like guideposts for myself, I can kind of get lost, or like I'm trying to go in so many directions at once, which can then I feel overwhelmed and then I feel stuck as well. So it's like either way you can kind of feel stuck. So for me, I was thinking about it as I was wearing a pair of Crocs, and I was like, these are so comfortable, and I was like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. They're soft and squishy, but they still have a structure to it, right? They support you, they support your feet. It's that feminine and masculine combination of like, they're comfortable, they kind of form to your foot, but they still hold you. I don't know if that makes any sense, but we're getting a lot of like kind of fashions things coming through, so I don't know if that has anything to do with anyone, but it is interesting. Yeah, it's like and maybe it's because it's Taurus season, we're talking about the physical realm and like earthly items and how we express ourselves externally, and how that kind of, but also, yeah, if we're thinking about Taurus, it's fixed earth, so it's structure, right? But it feels soft because it's like Venus ruled, and it's about beauty. So it's like creating a structure that feels beautiful, creating something stable that still feels like it supports your creativity. Like I was thinking about, if you have a room, for example, it might feel like cold and dark, but if you add like paintings to the wall, or you add candles or whatever, you add a window, like now you have that structure, but you're also allowing it to feel open, or you're allowing it to reflect back to you in some way, or give you that inspiration within that structure of room where you can feel safe within those walls, but those walls also are a creative playground or an easel or like a whiteboard, something that you can like write on and erase. It becomes a project, a work in progress. It becomes a place for you to become, because it's safe. Because if you're trying to create something but you're out there in the storm, like, it's gonna be a little difficult maybe if you don't have the proper like coverage. So that's why I'm saying it's like finding a balance where it's like you're not feeling restricted, but you're not feeling overwhelmed by all the possibility. You know, it's kind of like, how can we, and everyone, I think it's going to be different for everyone, right? But I think it's important to acknowledge that it's like maybe what we've been taught or what's been ingrained or conditioned into us of how we are supposed to learn or how we're supposed to work or what productivity is not necessarily helpful or beneficial or valuable for us. So I think, and it's important to find a balance, I think, because if we're too much, like I said, in one extreme or the other, we can end up maybe stuck. But I honestly do think like sometimes we need that, right? We need that restriction to know where we want to expand. If we're pushing up against our walls, then we know, okay, something's not working here. This is where I want to move or create space. And like, you're going to keep bumping into that wall, right? For example, I recently quit my 9-to-5 job because it was draining me. And I kind of like knew I wanted to quit for a really, really long time. And I just was like waiting, I don't know, maybe for the right moment. I don't know. But once I kind of made that decision, I thought like, I don't know, I thought I was going to feel a lot more lost. I thought I was going to go into a big depression. And I ended up feeling so much better because I was listening to myself. I was finally listening to myself and choosing myself and saying, this isn't working for me. But I was ready to take that leap. Like, I was in a place where I felt like, I don't know, I was just building my inner stability. So I felt like I could achieve these things that I wanted on my own, because I felt like my intuition is strong. But not only that, I feel like I guess, integrated the masculine in a way of like, I know I can take the steps. I know I can take that action. I know I can protect myself. I know I can build this thing that I want. And I think before, maybe I was missing that follow through. I was missing that like piece of like, how do I create this structure? How do I create a structure in my life that feels open and conducive, that feels complementary to who I am and what I'm trying to express, in a way that supports it, that's going to carry it along. Yeah, so that's kind of what I don't know if I'm like saying the same thing over and over, but also on the tag of my jeans here, it says 28, and it says Shelly, leopard, wide leg, koala, quality. So I don't know if these are messages for anyone. Could be 28, something could have happened at 28. I was reflecting on 28 for me, and how much has changed in the last 2 years for me. And yeah, honestly, like 30 has felt like such a fresh start for me. And I felt like I finally was like, I don't know, empowered to be like, I'm gonna take control over my life, because kind of always had these dreams and ideas, and I don't know, I guess I always thought like I'll get to them one day, like eventually I'll be there. And then once I turned 30, I was kind of like, wait, well, why, when am I gonna get to these things? Like I haven't, like now's the time. Like it was kind of like a little, you know, kick in the butt to be like, all right, if these are the goals, if these are the vision, if this is the vision, how can we actually achieve this? And I previously would have felt so overwhelmed by that, and I still do sometimes, but I've been trying to break it down into smaller steps, which previously I struggled with, I think, seeing long term, or seeing how what I do now will pay off in the future, and like being able to connect those dots. But I think a lot of it was just my own self-limiting beliefs of like, oh, there's no way I can do that, there's no way I can accomplish that, I have no idea what I'm doing, you know. Like I think that's really been the biggest hurdle, is my own fear, my own limitations, my own self-beliefs, my own mindset. It's so funny how it always comes back to that, right? It's kind of, because if you think about all the artists in the world, right, there's so many artistic people, but the people that I think are like are seen, that put themselves out there, it's because they've somehow have a relationship with that fear, that they've been able to work with, right, to allow themselves to be seen, to feel safe to create. I think that's what it is. It's harder to create when we feel unsafe. It's maybe impossible, right? Like, I don't know. Or it might feel like too much, because we first maybe are being asked to look at, why is this feeling so out of reach? Why am I kind of holding myself back from this thing that I want? Like, why does this feel so big? Why am I so afraid of this? And it's not a judgment, right? This is completely human and part of life, right? It's not about extinguishing the fear or ignoring it or denying it. It's about understanding it, listening to it, making space for it, and allowing it to show up in a way that feels like we are on the same team rather than we're working against each other. But also like befriending it in a way where it doesn't feel like this big monster in the closet that's gonna pop out and scare us, but it's like, oh hey, I know this monster, like we're pretty chill, we're like, you know, I know what that is, I know what's coming up. Okay, I'm sitting down to write and I'm feeling this fear come up, and we're like, we're not gonna go there right now, because we've worked through that, we're past that, we're safe now, whatever it is. Like, and we're all at different stages of this, and also this is an ongoing thing. I think as we elevate, we're gonna meet that fear so many times, right, in different ways, in different areas, and whatever comes up. So it's just kind of getting to know it and being like, okay, I see you, I hear you, but like, we're not going to sabotage right now, because that's not, we are stronger, we are able to handle this, we're courageous, we're brave. We're not going to let fear hold us back from our dreams, from our visions, from the life we want to live. And in that moment exactly, we are already living our truth. We're already living the life we want, because we're choosing ourselves. We're choosing ourselves. We're choosing the impossible. We're proving to ourselves that we can do it. I think that's what it comes down to a lot of the times, is, do we believe in ourselves enough? Because we can do anything that we put our minds to. Truly. So if we believe we can do it, then we can do it. we're already doing it, right? It's not about the end product, it's the process. It's every step. So we're already doing the steps just by being in the ideation phase, just by conquering the fears. And I don't know if that's the best word, conquer, but that honestly is the shift. That is the most important piece, is connecting with the fear. Because once you get that, then you're kind of unstoppable. You can really do anything. So, and I pulled this card yesterday, which is fear. I love this depiction that it's a scarecrow and the crow is on top. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I know you're not a real person that's gonna come and attack me. You're just a stick with some straw. Like, that's what fear is, right? It's an illusion. And you can see all the crows in the back that are like kind of afraid of this. And this crow is like, oh, I'm not afraid, like, because I know what this is. You know, and I'm not gonna let this keep me from this whole garden and this, all these wishes. You see all these dandelions, like all these wishes that you've made are just behind this fear, are just behind this scarecrow. So like, you can acknowledge it, like, yeah, I see you, I get it. And maybe it becomes a protection, right? This is protecting your wishes of like, okay, I'm gonna make sure I feel safe to enter. How can I make myself feel safe? What do I need in this moment? Because that's what fear is, really, right? It's there to protect us, to alert us to things. But sometimes there's not really a threat. So yeah, it's like, can we make this more fun or playful in some way, where it's like these fears come up, and instead of like getting down on ourselves or shaming ourselves, or I don't know, whatever it is, we can be like, okay, I see that. It's a scarecrow. And yeah, like, all right, you can chill, you can hang out, but like, we're gonna keep going. We're still gonna make our wishes. We're still gonna keep moving toward what we want. Or at least seeing things clearly, let's say. Of like, okay, this is what it is. Because sometimes naming it is just like diffuses that. Once you know what it is, or where it's coming from, or why it's showing up, then it's like you can kind of tuck it aside. Or maybe you want to express it in some way, you want to share it, I don't know. But it's kind of like, don't let these fears stop you when, like, you are more powerful than your fear. That's the thing. You're in control now. The fear is not in control of you. You have transcended that. Like, the crow is on top of it. So you're not going to let the fear kind of come in and boil over and take over, and you're in a place where you can kind of moderate, you can regulate yourself, I guess. So our relationship with fear shapes our lives. Our relationship with ourselves shapes our lives. I truly believe our relationship with ourselves is the most important relationship you can have. It shapes all other things. Your perspective, your connection, your ability to connect with others, your ability to trust. You have to trust yourself first. And when you can trust yourself and you can rely on yourself, then you are able to be more grounded in, like, life is unpredictable, but I know I'll be okay because I have my own back. I'm listening to myself. I'm not going to put myself in harm's way. Like, I'm going to take time. If I need to take a break, if I need to step away, I can do that, and I can come back when I feel better, right? Because it's not about not feeling these emotions. We're going to have days where we feel overwhelmed or anxious, like, it's not, it doesn't mean just keep pushing through. That's not what I'm saying at all. It just means like knowing when to move, when to pause, right? When to set up a boundary, how thick does that boundary need to be, right? This is part of life and part of being a human and part of growing. We learn ourselves, we learn what we need, how we respond to things, right? We know our wounds, we know what kind of pokes at us and how to be a little more gentle with ourselves. And that's the like hard part and the not always fun part. But when we are able to have that base, you know, and that foundation, then it makes everything else come a little bit easier, or like at least we are a little bit more skilled at navigating, you know, and we know what's ours and what's not. And that's another video I want to make about being a healer and kind of how that can shape your lens and how you show up in the world and what we take on, because we are aware, because we see so much, and how to kind of, when we direct that healing energy back toward us, right? Because I feel healers tend to, we want to heal, right? We want to help, and we can end up taking on too much of other people's energy because we're like, oh well, I see what's happening here, I can take care of this, and then it can end up draining us and end up a lot of things. But when we're able to kind of step back, pull our energy back, say that is not mine, you know, and when we direct that healing energy back toward ourselves, that's when amazing things can happen. Like, so that's truly what I wish for you, is that all that energy that you give to others, everything that you spend on others, that you, the care and the love and the empowerment and encouragement and support and like the love that you just radiate, like if you can direct that towards yourself, embody that as much as you can, like you're just gonna be, yeah, glowing, radiating, like just unstoppable. So yeah, you're gonna be able to accomplish that which seems impossible because you're comfortable with discomfort, because you're brave enough to sit with the truth and to speak the truth and to embody that truth. And that's truly when alignment happens. And it's a process, and it's ups and downs, and it's not about perfection at all. We are imperfect, perfect humans, and it's not about self-judgment at all. It's about self-allowance and self-acceptance. And the more that we can kind of allow ourselves to just be in whatever form or shape that we're in, I just feel like it takes a lot of that extra weight off that we don't need. We don't need to be resisting against ourselves, you know? I mean, sometimes we do. That's how we learn, right? But anyway, I digress. But I don't know if this was just a big long ramble. I hope that there was something insightful in here for you. And yeah, I'm gonna keep showing up for these videos. So thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. And yeah, I'll see you all again soon.